Yeah, 1:15, 11. Yo no jugopa vana etya jarantu kritran. Durvasa so viratitan ayuthagra bhugya. Sakhana system upayujya yatasvilokim. Triptam amongst salile vinimagna sangha. Yo no jugopa vana etya jaranta kuchan. Durvasa sori rachitad ayuthagra bhuya. Sakhana system upayuja yatastilokim. Triptam amongst salile vinimagna sangha. Yo no jugopa vana etya duranta kuchan. Durvasa sori rachitada yuthagra bhuya. Sakhana system upayujya yatasvilokim. Triptam amongst salile vinimagna sangha. Yo no jugopa vana etya jaranta kritran. Durvasa suri rachitana yuthagra bhuya. Sakhana system upayuja yatasvilokim. Siddham amongst salile vinimagna sangha. Ya. One who? Na. Us. Jugopa. Gave protection. Vane. Forest. Etya. Getting in. Duranta. Dangerously. Kritrat. Trouble. Durvasasa. Durvasa Muni. Ari. Enemy. Rachitat. Fabricated by. Ayuta. 10,000. Agra Buk. One who eats before. Ya. That person. Saka ana system. Remnants of foodstuffs. Upayuja. Having accepted. Yatta. Because. Trilokim. All the three worlds. Triptam. Satisfied. Amongsta. Thought with the wind. Salile. While in the water. Vinimagna Sangha. All merged into the water. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Long purport. During our exile, Durvasa Muni, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, travels with a lot of disciples. That's a city, 10,000. Intrigued with our enemies to put us in dangerous trouble. At that time, he, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, saved us. By his accepting food, thus, the assembly of Munis, while bathing in the river, felt sumptuously fed, and all the three worlds were satisfied. Report. Durvasa Muni, a powerful mystic, Brahmana, determined to observe the principles of religion with great vows and under strict austerities. His name is associated with many historical events, and it appears that the great mystic could be both easily satisfied and easily annoyed, like Lord Shiva. When he was satisfied, he could do tremendous good to the servitor, but if he was dissatisfied, he could bring about the greatest calamity. Kumari Kunti, at her father's house, used to minister all kinds of services to all great brahmanas, and being satisfied with her good reception, Durvasa benedicted her with a power to call any demigod she desired. It is understood that he was a plenary incarnation of Lord Shiva, and thus he could either be easily satisfied or annoyed. He was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and by Lord Shiva's order, he accepted the priesthood of King Shveta Ketu because of the king's performance of sacrifice for 100 years. Sometimes he used to visit the parliamentary assembly of the heavenly kingdom of Indradev. He could travel in space by his great mystic powers, and it is understood that he traveled a great distance through space, even up to the Vaikuntha planets beyond material space. He traveled all these long distances within 1 year. During his quarrel with King Ambarish, the great devotee and emperor of the world, he had about 10,000 disciples. How many does Jayapataka Swami have now? Jayapataka Swami's got about 50,000. About 50,000. Imagine if he traveled around with all his. He goes on these safaris, right? He goes on safaris. Imagine if he had all of his disciples going on these safaris. That'd be pretty impressive, yeah. He had about 10,000 disciples, and wherever he visited and became a guest of the great Kshatriya kings, he used to be accompanied by a number of followers. Once, he visited the house of Duryodhana, the enemy cousin of Maharaj Yudhisthira. Duryodhana was intelligent enough to satisfy the Brahmana by all means, and the great Rishi wanted to give some benediction to Duryodhana. Duryodhana knew his mystic powers, and he knew also that the mystic Brahmana is dissatisfied, if dissatisfied, could cause some havoc. And thus, he designed to engage the Brahmana to show his wrath upon his enemy cousins, the Pandavas. When the Rishi wanted to award some benediction to Duryodhana, the later wished that he should visit the house of Maharaj Yudhisthira, who was the eldest and chief amongst his cousins. But by his request, he would go to him after he had finished his meals with the Queen Draupadi. Now, one might question, well, how's he going to know when they're finished, right? Duryodhana knew that after Draupadi's dinner, it would be impossible for Maharaj Yudhisthira to receive such a large number of Brahmana guests, and thus the Rishi would be annoyed and would create some trouble for his cousin Maharaj Yudhisthira. That was the plan of Duryodhana. Durvasa Muni agreed to this proposal when he approached the king in exile, according to the plan of Duryodhana, after the king and Draupadi had finished their meals. On his arrival at the door of Maharaj Yudhisthira, he was at once well received, and the king requested him to finish his noontime religious rites in the river, for by that time the foodstuffs will be prepared. Durvasa Muni, along with his large number of disciples, went to take a bath in the river, and Maharaj Yudhisthira was in great anxiety about the guests. As long as Draupadi had not taken her meals, food could be served to any number of guests. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But the Rishi, by the plan of Duryodhana, reached there after Draupadi had finished her meals. Now, how's he going to know that she finished her meal? You know? When the devotees are put into difficulty, they have an opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. So Draupadi was thinking of Lord Krishna in that dangerous position. And the all-pervading Lord could at once know the dangerous position of his devotees. He therefore came there on the scene and asked Draupadi to give whatever food she might have in her stock. On her being so requested by the Lord, Draupadi was sorrowful because the Supreme Lord asked her for some food and she was unable to supply it at that time. She said to the Lord that the mysterious dish which she had received from the sun god. I wonder, I never heard that passed down. That'd be interesting to know. How'd she get that from the sun god? Could supply any amount of food if she herself had not eaten. But on that day, she had already taken her meals, and thus they were in danger. By expressing her difficulties, she began to cry before the Lord, as only a woman would do in such a position. The Lord, however, asked Draupadi to bring up the cooking pots to see if there is any particle of foodstuff left. And on Draupadi's doing so, the Lord found some particle of vegetable sticking to the pot. The Lord at once picked it up and ate it. After doing so, the Lord asked Draupadi to call for her guest and company of Durvasa, or the company of Durvasa. Bhima was sent to call them from the river. Bhima said, quote, "Why are you delaying, sirs? Come on, the food is ready for you." Unquote. But the Brahmanas, because of Lord Krishna's accepting a little particle of food, felt sumptuously fed. Another inconceivable thing. It's completely full. Even while they were in the water, they thought that since Maharaj Yudhisthira must have prepared many valuable dishes for them, and since they were not hungry and could not eat, the king would feel very sorry. So it was better not to go there. Thus they all decided to go away. Krishna saved the day again. This incident proves that the Lord is the greatest mystic, and therefore he is known as Yogeshwara. Another instruction is that every householder must offer food to the Lord, and the result will be that everyone, even a company of guests numbering 10,000, will be satisfied because the Lord's being satisfied. That is the way of devotional service. Om Gyanatamandasya Gyanatamandasya Salakaya Chakshramritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurvena Bhakam Kudavachalam Punganam Haite Grim Yatkripataraham Bande Shigurum Dinataranam Vanchakalpatribhyscha Kripasindhudeva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he says, Patram Pushpam Palam Dayam Yame Bhakta Payastadaham Bhaktapayasam Snami Payatatmanaha. That if one offers to me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I'll accept it. So it's not that Krishna, he's in need of anything. He's called it Atmaram, self-satisfied. Doesn't need anybody. Doesn't need anything. But he likes love. He likes love. Everybody likes love, right? That's what everybody aspires for, loving relationships. And if loving relationships aren't there, it can be very depressing. So Krishna is also a person. So if someone offers to him with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, he'll accept it. Sometimes wealthy people, they move to Vrindavan, they retire, and they'll give all their wealth to their family, then they go to Vrindavan with their beads, and they chant. But no, Krishna also, he likes to give donations, not just for the family, that they could, live it up. Prabhupada, he was not. He didn't appreciate that because he lived in Vrindavan for many, many years, so he knew of this. No, they should give the results of their work to Krishna also. So in this verse, Krishna says twice, devotion, very attracted to devotion. And therefore, this process that we're involved in, this is the bhakti yoga process, the connection of devotion to Krishna. This is the goal, is to be connected again to Krishna by devotion, by devotional service. And this is the only way, actually, that one can understand Krishna. Bhaktya mamaya yavanyaschadvita tomam tatatoya vishadetara. That one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as is only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of Him through such devotion, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Yeah. This is the goal. Srila Prabhupada said, our process is no gap process. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Like Lord Chaitanya was in India traveling, and he was chanting this. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahima. Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rama, Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Krishna, Kesava, Pahima. Just Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Yeah. Pahima means he'll protect me. No, Rakshama means he'll protect me. Pahima means he'll maintain me. And Krishna will protect me, he'll maintain me. I think there's one pastime of Raghunath Das Goswami. He was doing some meditation. And while he was meditating in the forest, some big tigers came near him. And Krishna was there. This nice picture. Krishna's there, just in case the tigers feeling a little hungry. Krishna's there to protect him. So Krishna, he protects the devotees. But we have to be absorbed in Krishna. Yeah. So many services we're doing. Yeah. Of course, the main service in this age is this chanting of Hare Krishna. And what are we doing when we're chanting? We're praying for service. We're praying for service. And by this service, we attract Krishna. Prabhupada says that you can capture Krishna. You can capture God. It's like, the Yasoda was trying to capture Krishna. How can you capture God? with love. She had so much love. She wanted to correct him. She's the mother, so she's doing her duty, correcting. And she finally caught him, and that wasn't enough. She's going to bind him to Damodar. So Prabhupada said that, and Krishna, he wants to be captured. He likes to be captured. Yeah. But he's only captured by love. So that's how Krishna is captured, with this love. And here's another amazing example of Draupadi, such an amazing devotee, that she called out. There's the first time she called out, it was Govinda. Right? Now again she's calling out, Krishna, I need some help. That's a nice thing about book distribution also. You got to call out, Krishna. I was calling out Krishna a lot yesterday. Palo Alto's it's a sacrificial arena, purification. So, and that's what it's all about, actually. This process is about purification. You know, we don't want to be impure, so we're trying to get purified. And this is the process in this age, this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Prabhupada said one mood that a devotee has is, Krishna, please accept me again. Please accept me again. And of course also this, quite often he would say, it's like a child calling out to the mother. The child is completely dependent on the mother. So the child is crying out. I remember I was in the airport one time distributing books, and a child got separated from the mother. Somehow, airports are chaotic, wild. Miami airport especially. Somehow the child got separated, and this child was screaming. I mean, bloody murder, as they say. And I was thinking, well, okay, well, I guess this is how we should cry out. So, yeah, we have to really pray to Krishna so that we can get this devotion for him again. So by his taking this little prasad, all the sages, they were satisfied. And there's a verse in the Srimad Yatata Kormulam Nishechinena Tripyanit Tatskanda Bujopasaka Prana Payoracha Yathandriana Tataiva Sarvartam Achyuteja. That by giving food to the stomach, all the other limbs of the body are all satisfied. And putting water to the root, then the tree is nourished. So by serving Krishna, the demigods and all living entities are satisfied. So this is what happens by serving Krishna. We satisfy people. Like so many times on book distribution, we meet people and they come across Prabhupada's books, and they're so satisfied. Oh, this is so nice. They like to take books, give donations. So satisfying. Like one guy yesterday, he said, well, how much? I had 4 books. I said, well, there's no price. Typically people give anywhere between 30 and 40. And, no, 30 and 50. He said, I'll give 50. He was satisfied. He liked. So So many people are satisfied. Prabhupada, by his uh, sincerity, he satisfied so many thousands. He got so many letters. Oh, Prabhupada, this process is making me so happy. So many. Imagine how Prabhupada must have felt so good. Yeah. Of course, he got a lot of letters of disappointment also, unfortunately. Yeah. There's I've been reading the Leelamrita lately. It's amazing. It's so amazing. In 1976, he was starting to feel ill, and he never actually recovered. So he was in New York City, and he was on his way to London, and then to Tehran, and then back to India. But he wasn't feeling well. The devotees were trying to convince Prabhupada to go to Gitanagari, nice farm there. Prabhupada, you could go there and you could write, you're going to London and Tehran to preach, but by your writing, you're preaching to millions of people. And you can go there and you can get healthy again. And it's nice and peaceful. And they were trying to convince him up to the point where he's in the elevator going down to get his car to go to the airport. Even then, they're still trying to convince him. Prabhupada is very peaceful. Prabhupada looked at him and said, I am not interested in this peace. He kind of said it like a bad word. He said, no. I want the privilege of being able to die on the battlefield like Arjuna. Prabhupada had a real kshatriya mood, And he said, actually, a preacher's like that. A preacher has the Brahminical mood, of course, giving knowledge. Mostly it's Brahminical. But also kshatriya. He said that we're declaring war on Maya. So it also has the kshatriya nature. So just like a kshatriya on battle, he's very prepared. He's in good shape, strong. He's got his weapons, he's got his shield, he's got his protection, he's ready for battle. So a preacher also has to be prepared. And what is that preparation? Hearing. Like here, this word is here, rapt. This word is not very rapt attention. You don't find that very much in Prabhupada's book. There's another place where Prabhupada says that if one hears with a rapt attention, one can see Krishna on every page of the Bhagavatam. But to hear with rapt attention, one has to be pure in mind. To be pure in mind, one has to be pure in action. To be pure in action, one has to be pure in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But if one can hear like this, with a rapt attention, one can see Krishna on every page. Won't that be nice? It all depends on, it's interesting, that depends on eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. How we eat. That's like Vaiseshika Buddhist. I don't know of anybody on the planet that has that chants so many slokas before prasadam. Which is nice. I mean, we're honoring prasadam. There should be so much respect. It's prasad seva. Prabhupada would always eat prasadam alone, practically. Very few times would he eat with others. It was a service. It was seva. He relished prasadam. He relished Krishna in the form of prasad. And there's many pastimes, like Prabhupada was, one time he was, I think it's LA temple, and there was some prasadam, plate of prasadam laying there. And Prabhupada said the prasadam was crying to be eaten. So this prasadam wants to be honored. They're not material. The devotee was, they were also around the prasadam room there, and there was a poi there, and Prabhupada to put some sugar in it and eat it, just sugar. And a lot of devotees were into health at that time. Devotee, he did it though. He put some sugar in there and just ate it. Sugar samosa. So, and if anybody would come to see Prabhupada, always prasad. There was one instance where one guest was visiting Prabhupada and he had left and he had not gotten prasadam. And it had been maybe maybe 5 minutes or so, and he told Rita Ananda Maharaj, get prasadam to him. He didn't get prasad. So Rita Ananda Maharaj grabs him. He's running to catch up to the person. Give him prasadam. Everybody got prasadam. So important. He called this as a kitchen religion. Very important. And therefore, towards the end, starting about like 75, 76, he was telling Prabhupada, was telling the boys, restaurants. We need more restaurants. They had enough temples, now we need restaurants. Prasad distribution. So important. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get one here eventually. Of course, we have a lot of Oliva's online restaurant. So, eating, sleeping. We don't need to sleep that much. I mean, there's some people. Radhesham told me, he met one boy in school. He slept all day long. And Radhesham said, how can you do that? He said, well, I don't have anything coming up. I don't have any tests. Don't have anything to do. Just slept all day long. What a waste, huh? What a waste. When Prabhupada would go to take rest, he would tell his servant, now I'm going to waste time. That's how Prabhupada got to sleep. He didn't like to sleep. He didn't like to sleep. But you have to get some sleep. Prabhupada would say 6 hours, between 6, 7. One time he said 8. Sometimes there's, we all have different natures. Some people need a little bit more. But he said pretty much standard 6 is good. Then as you advance, then you decrease. Yeah. Just like he said of the 6 Goswamis, they would forget to sleep. Anybody here ever forget to sleep? Imagine that, forgetting to sleep. And other than that, they would sleep maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. Just absorbed in service. Talking about no gap. No gap. Just fully absorbed in devotional service. So eating, sleeping, mating. Of course, mating is only there in household life. And only to raise a child. And even then, they do the Garbhadan Sanskara. They chant 50 rounds, hoping to have a nice Krishna-conscious child. So that's the gross. But then also there's the subtle. You have to get free of the subtle also, which is more difficult. But this is the main attraction. Just like if you go to movie theaters, there's the main attraction, movies, So in the material world, that's the main attraction. And most difficult to give up. But if you get a higher taste, then it's possible. Then it's possible. This is this material sense gratification is what everybody is entangled in. The whole material world, everybody is entangled in sense gratification. So many varieties of sense gratification. Now now we have this advancement in material civilization, and now there's so many new gadgets. People just get more and more entangled. But devotee also wants to get entangled. Krishna tvadiya parapankaja pancharatram ajaiva me vasatamanas pran. I know that, but Krishna Tvadiya Parapankaja Panchat Ajaiva Meva Satamana. You don't get it. You see, Krishna takes it away. You know something very well. Krishna takes it away. So this verse says that may the swan of my mind get locked up with a network of the lotus feet of Krishna. Otherwise, if I wait till the end of my life, when my memory is weak and my throat is choked up, how will it be possible for me to think of you and to chant your names? So the devotee is praying, doesn't want to leave his body when it's too old. It's like a lot of people get dementia. Even some devotees now they're getting elderly, and dementia is moving in. So devotee doesn't want that. We want to be able to remember Krishna. So the swan, it's interesting. The swan wraps its neck around the lotus stem for some reason. So that's why this is there. And then the devotee wants to entangle his consciousness in the lotus feet of Krishna. Entangle in the sense that there's so many varieties of service. We should always be doing some type of service. You know, like here we have so many different services to do. There's cooking and cleaning and book distribution, and then you have your jobs. But even that should be for Krishna. Like one person asked me yesterday, he said, so are all the people there at the temple, they're monks? Oh, I said, no. Most of them are IT. IT monks. So I said, well, they work, they have to, get a roof over their head and food on the table. But whatever they have extra, they give to Krishna. That's IT monk. They give to Krishna. Not everything. But there's many people, as mentioned, there's people that are so wealthy, just having all this money sitting in the bank, just enjoying having the money in the bank. And they look and they go on the computer and they see their millions. Like I met there's one guy in Miami, old guy. He would come by and we would talk sometimes. And he said he just won $2 million on the stock exchange. And he was in ecstasy. I mean, the guy's about 80 years old. I said, "Come on, man! What are you're so happy you got all this money? But come on, you're 80 years old. You're gonna kick the bucket any minute, man." He said, "No, but it's just so nice to have all this money." Yeah, it's sensual. Just knowing that you got all this money in the bank, it's amazing. This is Maya. Yeah, this is Maya. Yeah. Better to have Krishna in our consciousness, because money, Lakshmi, flickering, here one day and gone the next, and therefore it's a cause of anxiety a lot of times. But if we have Krishna, the more we have Krishna, then very auspicious. The more we're getting purified. So any question or comment or reflection? Yes. Oh yeah. It's a great verse.
I never thought of it in this context too. It's nice. Every verse can be connected in so many different ways. So how you connected that there should be no gap, and Krishna can only be pleased by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So yeah, this verse I could never understand. I thought, okay, Krishna is saying devotional service, but what does it mean to be devotional service? But now you told that no gap, that always engaged in Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Keep the transcendental vibration going. Right?
Yeah. And then the verse also says tato mam tattvato gyatva. So the tattva word is a two times it's there, and Krishna says in another place Janma karma chu me divyam evam yogiti tattva. One who understands my birth, my activities in truth, by that he won't take birth again. So here he's saying how we can understand him in truth. That is by devotion. Otherwise, who can understand Krishna?
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his favorite verse is Atashri Krishna Namadi Nama Vedgayana Sevan Mukha Jiva Swayameva Spridantana. That one cannot understand Krishna with one's blunt material senses, but when Krishna becomes pleased by our devotional service, by the no gap devotional service, constant, then he reveals himself. And like also Sadatan Kirti, always chanting my glories, endeavoring great determination. And when Prabhupada was getting this temple in Bombay, we had got the temple and or we got the property, and now we wanted to build the temple, but you had to get permission from the city. And one reason they didn't give it because they have this early morning Mangalarti and it's a nuisance. Oh my God, Prabhupada! He so many times he mentioned this rascal. This rascal. He could have been a gentleman and said they get up early in the morning and sometimes maybe the music may disturb the neighbors. He could have said it something like that as a gentleman. But to call kirtan a nuisance, I mean, he mentioned that so many times. I wouldn't want to be in that guy's shoes when Yamaraj came. A nuisance. And here he is. He's an Indian. He's probably a Hindu. I'm sure he's probably a Hindu. Nuisance. Oh God. Of course, finally they were able to get permission, and they built a beautiful temple. But yeah, a lot of rascals in big positions, unfortunately. Yeah.
I had a question on my reading. In a purport, Prabhupada says that the devotees of the Lord in Vaikuntha planets want to see the Lord as the most beautiful, but the devotees in Gokula Krishna Loka want to see Radharani as more beautiful than Krishna. Why is that the case?
Because Radharani, she gives the most pleasure to Krishna. She's the most dear to Krishna. And she's just so devoted to Krishna that devotees are devoted to Radharani. You go to Vrindavan and you'll hear still to this day, Jai Radhe. You see on the trees, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. So yeah, Prabhupada was speaking about this. He said, Krishna is the most beautiful. Well, he said, then actually, Radharani, she's more beautiful. No one is more beautiful than, well, maybe Radharani. Why? Because she's so devoted to Krishna. When Radharani hears us chanting Hare Krishna, hears us saying Krishna, she's so happy. And when Krishna hears us saying Hare Radharani, he's so happy. So it's a happy mantra. There's one devotee on book distribution, and he gave a person a book, and he also explained the Hare Krishna mantra. Gave him a card, gave her a card, explained the Hare Krishna mantra, and he explained he said this is a happy mantra. If you chant this, you'll be happy. She came back an hour later and she said, I lied to you. I told you I only had $10, but I actually had 20. And I want to give you 10 more because this mantra is really a happy mantra. I've been chanting this mantra. It's very nice. She was inspired to give more. Transcendental. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
So I have two questions. So one question is that, how did you put some